morning. Welcome to Tea Time with Sarah. Today, I'm going to talk about something I wasn't actually planning on talking about for my first real video after the introduction. I'm going to talk about confidence today. Main reason is because after the last recording, I realized how non-confident I was during that. I know those of you who know me, and probably everybody else, could tell that it wasn't supernatural. I was trying to think of every word that I said, which for me is not terribly normal. I was trying to be really careful. I also had the tablet that I'm recording on flipped over so I could see myself, but then I was conscious of every hand motion. Those of you who notice, I don't think I did very many in the last one. Every pause that I did, every like, and so my confidence was pretty much shattered from the beginning, and it was really stressful and really hard to do. Just like that. So as I was thinking about it over the last few days, I just realized that confidence is something that a lot of people believe that I have. When you talk about confidence, and when people say that, I think what they're talking about and what they see is that I'm not nervous. I think, is that what you think of as confident? Is when you're not nervous? It's one of the things I think about with confidence. When you say someone has confidence or they don't have confidence in something, I would say that's one of the words I would use to explain it. I don't know if that's exactly correct, but I remember being at one of our last churches, and a woman that had become a sister and a friend had mentioned about being a little bit nervous or unsure about something, and she made a comment of, "Oh, I thought you were confident in all areas." And I thought, nope, that's not entirely true. I don't know how I come across with that way. So when people talk about being confident, and especially as women, when we're talking about being confident, or you see someone and you say that, oh, she's confident about something, it can kind of be intimidating. And I know that because I have met plenty of women who are very confident, I feel, and sometimes it can be intimidating. But here's a secret for people who seem to be more confident. They're not confident in everything. When you get to know them and really get to know them, you find out that they are confident, but not in every area. And so to assume that they're that way in everything isn't the truth. But there's more to it than that. I know this is going to sound extremely cliche to a lot of people, especially believers. But ultimately, our confidence is in Yah, in God. That is ultimately where the confidence comes from. I know. That you can have lots of other areas of confidence and other things that can help with confidence. But truly, I believe that is where it is, because that's where it comes from for me. Because there's so many things in my life that I have to not be confident about. When I was growing up, a lot of my friends were a lot skinnier than I was. A lot of them were a lot prettier than I was. But I was still able to have confidence. And I know a big part of that, and the main part of it, well, I guess a big part of it is because of family. That's a huge part. If you are raised up with the words that you say and the things that are said about you, it's a huge part of confidence. Also, your friends that you have. I was blessed to have so many good friends who loved Yah, and we loved each other. And I still have a lot of those friendships today. So I'm not discounting any of that. It also helps with confidence, honestly, to wear clothes that you like, to have a hairstyle that you like. Those things can also help with confidence. That is another cliche that they have from the world, but it is also a true one. I've noticed when I am in clothes that I don't feel comfortable in, when I'm in clothes that I don't feel nice looking or attractive in, I am not as confident. It's just how life is. I really think that's a big part of it too. But all of those things can be put to the side if I know who I am. That's the main thing. It's not just knowing God and not just knowing Jesus. When you say those words, it doesn't make as much sense. But it's knowing who I am in Him. I remember a time when I was younger and I was the assistant counselor for a group of girls who were like inner city girls around 13 to 15 years old. And we were sitting around and talking about life. And the main counselor asked how everyone saw themselves and like how they would explain themselves to someone. And I had just been thinking about that actually myself for the week or two prior to that. And so I remember everyone went around and explained who they were and how they like saw themselves in that. And so I remember doing that, and when it came to me, I said what I had been really thinking about the last week, which was, I am a daughter of the King. And the girls were just shocked. And I grew up in a Christian world. I grew up as a missionary kid, going to Christian schools. So I was surrounded by other people who believed in the Bible and followed Jesus. And so I was not super surprised, but kind of, that people were shocked about that. I just thought they'd just be like, oh, okay, and they'd move on. But that struck me, how surprised they were and how true it was. Because no matter what happens in my life, and I've had some really hard things happen, who I am isn't ultimately dependent on the clothes that I wear. It isn't ultimately dependent on the words of affirmation, the good words, and that people have spoken to me in my life. It isn't dependent on family. It's not dependent on friends. Like none of those are all things that I help, and I believe those all like pour into someone and help someone be confident. But ultimately, I don't think that truly is it. And this is not preaching. This is just sharing like heart to heart. This is what we're doing. We're having a spot of tea, which mine, by the way, is apple and orange and cinnamon. From Germany, it's really good. But ultimately, I really don't think that those are, because in my life, they've been all stripped away. God has been with me 2 times in my life to be somewhere completely without friends. Literally, like I didn't have anyone around to talk to. And so in those times, in those places, I realized how much that I really put value on friendship and how much I relied on friendship and how I had kind of become something that I had a lot of confidence in. Prideful. I think that's where also I've been thinking about confidence over the last few days. Confidence and pride can kind of, I don't know if they're not the same, but they can be intertwined, I think. And so my pridefulness in having friends, my pridefulness of that is not, see, that's not like pride, I guess. That would be confidence. So my confidence is that, like, I had confidence in having friendships, and yeah, but see, it's kind of intermixed. Anyways, that is a huge thing for me, like I said. Confidence in family and how they view you. That got stripped away, and that is a story for another time. But that got stripped away a while back. And so that, like, confidence can't be based on that. It just can't. Like, your position, your job. I have never actually had a job that I was like, this defines me. I have great confidence in this. I have jobs that I like usually. But I never saw that as being something that I talk to people about, like, who are you? Oh, this is who I am. I'm this job. And I know from listening to other counselors, not counselors, reading books about men and women, I guess I should say that. That men tend to see more of who they are in that, and women don't. I understand that. But I know women who see themselves, and that is where their confidence is in their job. And so when the job gets taken away, if they get fired, if they move, everything comes crashing down on them. That's where I think it's so important that it is, your confidence has to be in the Lord, has to be in Jehovah, has to be in God. It cannot be in anything else, because then you don't have that confidence. And the times when I've been shattered inside, I have always known when I am completely shattered, I see a picture of a big rock and me just like laying on it because I can't do anything else. But I know that rock is there. And so my confidence isn't in me. It's in that rock. The rock of Yah. So that's who I have confidence in. And so to get through hard times, that's really where that confidence comes from. And so people can still see that and say that, but it isn't me. It truly is God. So that's where I really think that could believe that confidence comes from. So without that, can you still have confidence? Yeah. But like I said, when the really hard things come, it can really wipe that away. People can be overly confident. I know. I am well aware of this. But I don't think that having confidence in and of itself is a bad thing. Overly confident, then you get prideful, and then you get, there you go, that's where the pride comes in. I think that's really where it comes from. But part of what I really wanted, that was a lot of what I wasn't exactly expecting to go into. But one of the things I thought about that I really wanted to share was what I said earlier about women that you see, and you can be intimidated by them if they feel confident or they look confident or that they have everything together. And I'd really, really encourage you, because I know as women we tend to, not everybody, not doing that, but I know that we can tend to see other people and how they are and how they present themselves and put kind of them in boxes or labels and sometimes not get to know them. I've done that. I know that some people have done that with me because they've told me that. But when you actually get to know them, you realize that they are just like other women. There's a mom that I knew several years back, actually many years back, and she had a lot of children. And what I heard from everyone who knew her is they said, she is amazing, she posts online, and then her kids talk about it, and she talks about it, about all the fun, exciting things that their family does. And they had all this cool crafts and games, and they would just do all this fun stuff. And so I talked to her about that. I was a young mom. Miss M was born. I think Miss A had just been born, I was pregnant with her maybe. Anyways, and so I really wanted to learn about that and see that because I wanted to do that for my kids. And I get creative ideas sometimes, but not all the time. And especially after having kids and being hormones and all of that, I just was not feeling very inspired at all. And so I asked her, just how do you come up with these amazing ideas? Everyone is just, all these other women I know and talk to say how incredible that is and how you come up with these. And a lot of women just feel like there's no way that they could do that. There's no way that they could keep up with that. They can't come up with ideas like that, but they're just in awe that you do. And she laughed. And I was like, what? And she laughed and she said, Sarah, I don't come up with any of those ideas. I'm terrible at coming up with those ideas. She said, those are not my ideas at all. She said, I go on Pinterest and I Google ideas. And then I have one day a week that our family does fun things and does like a family night or game or different things. And we do that then. She said, it does take some time and it takes some planning, but that's it. And I remembered like that was a huge like light bulb moment of not that she was perfect, but with the way that all these other women were talking about her and her confidence and her ability to do all these amazing grand things, and oh, I could never do anything like that. What I realized is she was just like any other woman, and that's something that I could do. That's something that you could do. Have I done that? Yes. A couple of times. I have not done that. Although my kids are older now, and I think that would be a fun thing to do. But that is something where she just said it just takes the discipline of making the time and doing a little bit of preparation ahead for it. So it wasn't anything grandiose and it wasn't anything huge. I have taught my kids now that they're getting older about Pinterest. I just introduced that to them not too long ago and said, here, if you want to do something creative, you can go ahead and look on there and get creative ideas, which I did get from her. And that has worked out really well several times. My kids have had a lot of fun coming up with grand ideas. They just made a really cool thing. Anyhow, I'm getting sidetracked. But it's a good idea. You can try it. But yeah, so confident, that's the main thing, is that when you see someone who's confident, don't be afraid. You can ask them if you want to do that. If you see attributes or things that they do well, or you've heard about things that they do well, you can just ask them about that. Another woman that I know was really looked up to in a past church, and she was amazing and she was incredible. But again, some of the other women were looking at her and just saying, oh, there's confidence and she does this and this and this and this, and almost putting her on a pedestal. And I got to know her really well, and she was not that way at all. She felt that she had a lot of things where she wasn't confident in, just like I do. I have a lot of stuff that I'm not confident in. And so learning that and getting to know women like that and knowing their hearts and talking to them and seeing it, I think is so important. I just wish as women that we would do that more, that we wouldn't feel intimidated by people. And I do get intimidated by plenty of women. That's not true. I get intimidated by certain women, especially women who come across in a certain way. Really intimidates me. But in general, even that, and so I'm talking to myself here too, I don't think that we should let ourselves get super intimidated to the point of not talking to them or not sharing life with them, but just being like, oh, they have it all put together, or oh, they have that confidence, or oh, they have that. We need to come together. So I just wanted to encourage you ladies to put your confidence in the only one who seriously will not leave you, and to not put people, especially other women, into boxes or onto pedestals or any of that, because no one deserves to be there. Seriously, you can look up to women, that's all right. I have plenty of women I look up to. I want to share a lot of those women with you, younger and older than me. I want to be able to interview them and share that with you. But there's a difference between looking up to someone and putting them up so high or putting them into a box so much that you are surprised if they don't fit whatever you put them in. And surprised to the point where it can become uncomfortable or weird or off or something like that. So just allowing everyone to be themselves, I think, is a huge part. And to not be confident in everything and to make mistakes. It's all right. It's okay for people to allow people to be themselves. So I hope you all have a fantastic day and keep reaching out and learning about one another. Love you, ladies. Bye.